Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the sixth in a series of parent tutorials. And we are so happy that you were able to join us today. All around the world, COVID-19 continues to change lives in the most fundamental ways. Everyone longs for a more normal life, especially for their children who are bored, restless, and confused by the pandemic restrictions and the upheaval of their normal daily activities, routines, and social lives.
Here in Canada, we have experienced the joy of just about flattening the curve, followed by a resurgence of new cases to remind us it isn't over and we need to follow all the public safety guidelines. Our summer holidays are over now in Manitoba, and the controversy about returning kids to school is just swirling. And I think it probably sounds familiar to you.
Most school systems are discontinuing virtual learning, except for children who have severe medical conditions or special needs. Everyone else is expected to attend in-school classes. As a result, some parents are planning to homeschool or they're signing up for online courses.
Maple Bear is taking a more caring and flexible approach. We are here to explain Maple Bear's plan to permit you, our Maple Bear families, to make choices that work for your unique circumstances and which ensure your children continue learning in a safe and caring environment.
We have devised a hybrid model and have trained schools into implementing it. We are responding to the realities. Some families need their children to return to school immediately. Other families need to keep their children at home. We are adjusting our school process to accommodate both legitimate needs. You will be able to choose the option that suits your family situation best.
Our first goal today is to explain this new model, how it will work, and enlist your help in implementing it. Our second goal is to reassure all our Maple Bear families we are ready, willing, and able to work to take care of your children no matter where they are. And we will continue to be as responsive as we can be as this pandemic continues to evolve.
It is prudent to acknowledge that there are many unknowns and that Maple Bear Brazil will need to be responsive to new developments. We have experience in this. Our Maple Bear schools in Asia, Europe, Africa, North and South America have experienced virtually every scenario related to opening and closing, reopening, reclosing that anyone can imagine. Their best practices have been informing our planning. We do not assume that offering our hybrid model will be straightforward, easy, and a smooth process. What we want you to know is that we will do everything in our power to make it as easy and as effective as possible with your support and, of course, your feedback.
Your help is actually going to be super important. We have mentioned this in our previous tutorial about the return to school, and it's worth repeating. The full strength of a trusting, collaborative, empathetic, mutually supportive relationship between parents and school staffs will be required. More than ever, children need to know that their parents and their teachers are working together, smoothing out challenges and being respectful, no matter how high the stress level goes. We know that children cannot learn when their minds are focused on fear, conflict, worry, or insecurity. Maple Bear pedagogy is based on research that affirms that a feeling of well-being and the ability to learn are interdependent.
We care deeply about the well-being and education of all of our students, something you have certainly seen demonstrated in the amazing virtual classes, special online events, and personal outreach to families done by the Maple Bear School staffs over the last several months.
We understand that children have had varied experiences during the pandemic. Some experiences have actually been positive, like maybe learning to cook or learning to do some helpful chores around the house, having lots of time to play with siblings. But we do agree that there are some negatives too that children have experienced. Maybe a loved one sick with COVID, stressed parents, no lessons, no sports, and no time to interact with peers.
We understand that children have had varied responses to online learning. Some children enjoyed the short lessons and the ability to work independently and at their preferred speed. Some children have had trouble with remote learning, missing the element of interactive fun, finding it boring and hard to manage.
We understand that children have unique learning strengths and needs. Some children have loved working on the computer and being able to take breaks, have a snack, or go outside whenever they feel like it. But other children really miss doing hands-on activities with friends and find they can't motivate themselves to do their schoolwork at home.
We understand that children have unique social emotional strengths and needs. Some loved being home with family, growing closer and doing fun things together. Some introverts have enjoyed having more time to themselves. Other children have found it very difficult being separated from their friends who keep them sane. And some children have been losing sleep because they're worried about parents who have to work outside of the home.
We also respect family differences and the varied experiences, circumstances, and needs of our Maple Bear families. We are aware of the many challenges you have faced, health risks and worry, fear for beloved family members, disruptions to the routines of your normal life, financial stress, changes in employment, anxiety due to all this unpredictability and the constant changes, the loss of face-to-face interactions and social connections with your friends. Being together constantly with your children may result in higher levels of family conflict. And of course, the huge challenge of trying to ensure your children are schooling at home.
We hope you have also experienced a few of the positive side effects. Restrictions have forced families to stay home together and slow down their normal fast pace of work, school, socializing, sports, lessons, and travel. Spending more time together may be resulting in more closeness. You get to see your children reach milestones and you get to watch them grow. Eating meals together, communicating more, collaborating on schoolwork. Children and adults spending less time socializing with their peers may have built understanding, appreciation, strength, and resilience within their family.
But we know that these last months of school closures have been a true challenge, no matter how many blessings we try to count. It's clear that school is a key part of children's lives, not just for academic learning, but for learning social skills, citizenship, physical education, music, and art. These cannot be fully replicated online, although we're very proud of the valiant efforts made by our Maple Bear teachers to bring virtual learning to life.
Parents want their children to regain these wonderful benefits. And of course, your Maple Bear schools want to open when given the go-ahead by government and when all the requirements of sanitation, distancing, hygiene, and safety are met. But it is clear that no matter how stringent our preparations are, there is no 100% guarantee, and there are high risks for some people. For that reason, not all families will be comfortable sending their children back to school.
Therefore, the only sensible thing to do is to offer parents a choice. We believe that by offering both schooling options, in school and virtual, we are showing that we are a caring and responsive system. We're going to give you an outline of how this is going to work, but I warn you that we're just going to be speaking in pretty general terms because each school will be providing specifics for its own school community. The provisions are going to differ slightly between younger children and older children too.
We can assure you that Maple Bear Central and Canadian trainers have already provided a framework for each level, including support documents and webinars. We will continue to provide schools with detailed guidelines, expert training, and technical support. We will continue to draw upon Maple Bear's school experiences from around the world. So let's talk about the overall model, what each option will look like, and then differentiate between early years children and older children.
Here's what to expect if your children will be attending school in person. First and foremost, you need to be ready because it's going to be different, and your children need to be prepared. We would like to draw your attention to some important resources to support you in getting your children ready. One of them is the parent tutorial that Stu and I did previously on the return to school, and you can see the link on your screen there. Also, it's really important that you go to the digital learning community and review the Maple Bear guidelines for parents for the return to school. There's so many things that you need to remember and help your children be ready for. And the link is on the screen as well.
At school, the emphasis will be on social emotional support, crucial as a starting point for all children. A readaptation to school and new routines and procedures that now include hygiene and social distancing. Recovery learning strategies which address children's well-being and academic success. And teaching that is carefully planned to address those gaps based on assessments and, of course, classroom profile.
Teachers will be focusing on the essential elements, the outcomes of the Maple Bear program. Guidance in identifying these and in compacting the curriculum has been provided to staff. They know what to do. As we have said before, please don't expect or ask for a blizzard of extra homework. It is counterproductive, believe me. Formative assessments are also going to be a major focus. These are low stakes, no stress tasks that are monitored carefully, the results of which will guide the teachers in selecting the best learning activities for the students. For example, the teacher in the first couple of weeks of school being back may say, I'm going to read with every child individually. And she may note that some children have really struggled in keeping up with their reading skills. So of course, guided reading is going to be her priority for those children. Playing math games may tell a teacher that remedial math activities are really important for children who struggled at home to progress in math. We hope that you are reassured to know that this similar process of assessment will continue to happen with the children at home as well.
Here's what to expect if your children will be accessing virtual learning. A weekly schedule will be shared by the teacher with specific times for families at home to access the classroom via the classroom current platform and process. The times will be chosen to align with the highlights of the weekly plan for the class. The schedule will align with healthy screen time limits for different grade levels. Specific activities will be shared between the classroom and the home. Scenarios that lend themselves to sharing can include friendly readings, circle time, personal stories, discussion, read alouds, songs, brain body breaks, demonstrations, Q&A sessions, and lessons followed by assigned tasks. It is more engaging and stimulating for the children to interact with each other. Enjoyment and camaraderie enhance learning at all levels.
Assignments are going to be as similar as possible. Teachers have been advised to share their weekly plans well in advance with parents at home, highlighting activities and tasks that may need specific materials that may be gathered ahead of time for the children to use. The idea is that the tasks will be done simultaneously at school and at home, with the teacher then being available to answer questions and to provide live support. Older children, we know, are going to really enjoy being able to converse with their classmates and collaborate and help each other using this new hybrid model.
You may want to contact your school. Schools may be able to provide learning materials for families to use at home, things like books, manipulatives, and kits. It will depend on the individual school's circumstances.
Our teachers are such brave souls, and they're working extremely hard. They are prepared. They know that assessing each child's progress is an essential part of their work. They are expert observers, and what they observe, they use to plan lessons and identify specific needs and supports. For children participating from home, Teacher observations will continue to be an important aspect of assessment. Teachers will continue to consider the work that the children are doing at home and submitting, but they'll also observe and record your child's participation in the classroom activities that take place in the new hybrid way.
There is one important thing to keep in mind as you make your decision about your child's schooling. The teachers will not be conducting virtual classes as they have been doing. They will be teaching the children in the classroom and inviting children at home to participate via live streaming. It would be unfair and untenable to ask teachers to put in a full day's work at school and then to repeat everything again afterwards for the children at home. However, teachers will maintain contact with the families at home via email or WhatsApp or whatever communication platform you have established. You will be able to ask questions, seek advice, and collaborate with staff to support your child just as you have been doing.
It's going to be up to families to tune in and support and participate during school hours at the specified times. And yes, we know this is going to be yet another new challenge for you as families. However, we are confident that the children participating from home will be more engaged and more motivated by connecting with their teacher and their in-school classmates. We think that they're going to be able to learn by actively participating in class routines and activities, by listening and hearing more English being spoken and joining conversations, as well as by imitating what they see their peers doing. They will be gaining more of the complex interactions that contribute to deep learning.
For early years children, you will be asked to continue being active participant in early years of virtual learning. Let's hope you have developed your playful side. You need to be your child's enthusiastic playmate. We know that without active support, very young children struggle with attention to people on screen, no matter how interesting those people are. Encourage your child to do what his friends are doing. Children love to imitate each other. It's one very important way that they learn. Please continue to take photographs and videos of your child participating in activities while at home. Sharing this with the teacher will help her to see that your child has reached milestones or that they have learned a new skill.
Okay, when we need to flip the slide here, what we're going to see here is a sample of an early years schedule. And I know it's in very fine print and we don't expect you to be able to read it. It's just a way of showing you that there's going to be a schedule with 2 columns. And the one on the right of the page is going to be what you're being asked to do. The one on the left will show the times when various things are happening. And hopefully the teacher will highlight the ones that she considers to be really high priority. If your child is in early years, we remind you that 60 minutes is the limit of healthy screen time. So of course, we wouldn't want you to tune in for the whole day for all the 4 hours of activities. We want you to choose, with the teacher's help, the ones that your child will enjoy the most or need the most.
For older children, it is important to make a schedule for your family. Be ready to connect at the recommended times. You may choose the activities that your child needs most or most enjoys rather than connecting for all of the activities, all of the daily live streams. But of course, the more frequently and regularly your child connects, the better. We recognize that this becomes complicated with more than one child. Sharing computers and finding quiet workspaces may be difficult. You may have to negotiate something workable with your children's teachers. They want to make this work for you.
We recommend that you tune in at first with your child to get a feel for the hybrid model. You may be able to, and we've got our fingers crossed, gradually disengage and reduce your time commitment so that you can do some of the work that you need to do at home. We ask you to encourage your child to participate in the shared class activities. Be positive and enthusiastic about the new model. Carry on with what has worked for you in terms of monitoring and supervising virtual learning assignments, home reading, and the like. Stay in contact with the teacher, as Stu mentioned, to ensure that the assignments are clear and that they're completed as independently as possible. Teachers will be continuing to assess your child's progress and suggest next steps in his learning based on what they do at home. Stay positive, and this will rub off on your child. Children reflect and behave like the adult models they see around them.
And so now we have a sample of an elementary schedule, and we ask parents to remember and respect the healthy screen time, which is 2 hours per day. And what we have is an example of a teacher's schedule. And as parents, you would look at it, you would say, oh, I think I'll have my child attend the classroom meeting time and then maybe center time later. And the next day you would switch something up and perhaps do math and ELA as well. Keeping in mind that because it's elementary level, that there is a portion of this that will be Portuguese time.
Okay, before we stop talking and open for questions, we feel it's important to address what we call the content conundrum. We are often asked by worried parents, how will the teacher cover all the content knowledge that the children have missed? Will more assignments, more worksheets, more textbook tasks, more homework? Will our kids get bad grades because they've missed so much school?
According to old paradigms, not Maple Bear practices, knowledge was something that you poured into a child's ear and then you verified it with a test later. This is not how Maple Bear works, and science tells us this is not how children learn. Children learn when they feel relaxed, safe, confident, and happy. They learn when there is an element of play, a fun challenge, an intriguing task to engage curiosity and task commitment. And they learn when they are encouraged to explore, to test ideas, to do hands-on experimentation. This is much more effective than sitting passively, listening to or watching a teacher, or doing mundane, repetitive worksheets.
It's also very important that Maple Bear teachers observe and assess what the children know and can do, and then decide what the next step should be. You will be relieved to know that our Maple Bear teachers will not punish children for learning gaps. Every teacher around the world is expecting learning gaps in the children, and it's not their fault. We expect gaps, and we are planning our teaching to address the gaps.
Our Maple Bear pedagogy recognizes that the big ideas of our curricular outcomes are essential and can support children to be resilient and able to demonstrate fundamental skills and attitudes, which include curiosity, risk-taking, experimentation, problem-solving, creativity, communication, and of course, collaboration. These skills will serve them well throughout their education and yes, in life as well. Yes, knowledge is important, but in the 21st century context, knowledge is a click away, and learning how to learn is paramount. To quote Albert Einstein, learning is experience. Everything else is just information. Education is not the learning of facts, but training the mind to think. The development and general ability for independent thinking and judgment should always be placed foremost, not the acquisition of special knowledge.
This enlightened approach is what sets Maple Bear's Canadian pedagogy apart and what makes our schools capable of delivering a quality program no matter what crazy circumstances this pandemic presents.
We are glad to be able to offer parents choices in a time when new restrictions and rules and mandates are so frustratingly prevalent. We want you to stay in the Maple Bear family in whatever manner suits your family needs. This pandemic is going to affect the world for longer than any of us would like. It is important that we continue to work together to shield, to protect, and encourage our children and to ensure that they continue to learn.
Let's do everything we can do as adults. Sorry. to model grace, positivity, generosity, and calm under these tough circumstances. This is an important life lesson for our children. As Maple Bear parents, we ask you, please trust your school, maintain contact with your school, and always be part of the solution. Don't hesitate to offer constructive suggestions or to help out wherever or whenever possible. Let's continue to be a caring community. Remember, it takes a village to raise a child.
We will do our part. Maple Bear is flexible and responsive, and we will be ready for an immediate and practical response to whatever COVID can throw at us. Together, we are going to take good care of the children, no matter where they are.